Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hike 365 Live. This is the world's finest St. Louis hiking show, and we are Happy Trails Hiking.
Yes, we are. Hello! It's good to see everybody. We weren't sure we'd be here, but we are. Surprise! Never mind. This show this show is brought to you by our photography store. We take photographs places we go, mostly national parks. And every once in a while we get lucky and take a good one. We put those up on our photography store on Fine Art America, but you can find links to those at happytrailshiking.com/store. Okay.
Well, thanks everybody for being here.
It's good to see everybody.
We see that a lot of folks have said hello in the chat already. If you've not done so, please do so at this time. And the question for the evening is, what gear have you had that you would not recommend for purchase? So while you're pondering this question and thinking deep thoughts about your gear, I'll go ahead and share with you our answer to this question. And as it so happens, our recent trip to East Tennessee did involve a bit of rain. And so I am probably on my third rain jacket, and none of them seem to actually prevent the rain from getting in. So the kind that I have now is Frog Togs, which, I mean, they're good for a while, but they don't seem to be actually waterproof. And I had a brand that I got, I want to say in Yosemite. I don't know. But I got another brand some years back, and it was not waterproof. And then I had another kind before that was not waterproof. So I think maybe I just need to spend like $150 and get something with Gore-Tex. I don't know. But my answer to this question is I do not recommend cheap rain gear because it doesn't work. So what have you got on your mind tonight?
Okay, and I wanted to remind everybody, well, this is dual purpose. One is to remind everybody of our question from last week. Our question from last week is, where have you found unplanned hikes? And, everything's really busy because everybody wants to get outside now. So, where are you finding to hike? And second reason I'm doing this one is because to remind you that if you are in for the challenge and you make a comment on the video, you'll be in for the prizes at the end of the challenge in December. So Cliff Reiser responded because Cliff works really early in the mornings, but his response to where have I found to hike, he says, I find a lot of forgotten trails along the Migrating Birds Trail. Little brown sign with a bird flying on it. And I've seen these. So anyway, there are over 1,000 small parks up and down the East Coast set aside for birds. We have a few hundred in Florida. Most are rarely visited except by bird enthusiasts taking photos for a few weeks a year when the birds are passing through. And there are anywhere from a mile to over 20 miles of trails at each site. So I thought that was very helpful. And, we talked about our little brown sign trails last week. So, that was really fun that he found little brown signs with birds on them for the migrating bird trails. And I think we have a few of them around here. Maybe we ought to check those out.
Yeah, we probably do. So, I'm kind of sensing that most places have their well-traveled areas. And in the St. Louis area, there tend to be certain state parks, some, especially the Katy Trail.
And Castlewood State Park.
Castlewood, because it's it's technically I don't know if it's in the St. Louis city, but it's at least in the county. And so there are just a number of places that everyone just goes to from the urban areas. So you have to find the places that are just not as popular.
Or not thought of for the purpose of hiking.
Yeah.
Or, or swimming, or, lots of people are looking for like places to go float now, go float on the river, go canoeing or kayaking or things like that. Well, nobody's answering our question.
Well, so that's okay. Maybe that means they have awesome gear.
They
that
must
they would recommend
have
to everyone.
Awesome gear. So, Matt Cook Oregon was here earlier. I haven't seen him in a while, but Die Bullfrog 79, which is Uncle Al, is here and has one wildfire left out in his area, which is out in California. So I hope that is clearing up soon. Lori Bryant's here. It's good to see you, Lori, again. The Idahonian is here. Hike with Mike. And within hiking distance, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for popping in. Lori says, I too need to look for a different rain gear jacket. My sleeves on my shirt were quite damp this week. Yeah, and then, we got a lot of rain though. The Idahonian says, MSR fuel cans don't seem to work at altitude. Use the jet boil cans. So MSR fuel cans.
All right. Yeah, so different type of stove
right,
fuel.
Right. Exactly. So good idea. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, D90 Bell, it's good to see you. It has been a while. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. If you have any hiking gear that you would not recommend again or have a replacement, we would love to hear about it. Yeah, that's our question for this week. So if you guys have answers to that, I will be happy to read those next week, or if you want to add them into the chat now, that'd be awesome. Okay, so we just got back from a trip, and so I'm feeling a little scattered tonight, but I think we've graded everyone in the chat. So there we are. Yeah, let's do our spreadsheet. We didn't get too many pictures this week, but I do have a map, so that's fun. All right.
I think most people here know the drill, but I see a couple names that I don't recognize, so I'll just go explain. So we are in a challenge tag 365 miles in the year of 2020. And you'll see here that we have a number of teams in the mix. And so the first column is the team, and the second column, week 38 in this case, says what has happened within the last week for that team, or at least what they have logged within the last week.
Mm-hmm.
The grand total, of course, is the total for the year. The target, in this case, it's 271. That represents the number of miles that we would have if we had gone exactly 1 mile per day for the year. So it's the 271st day, so 271 miles. And then the percentage against that target. So Alexandra within hiking distance coming in at 3 miles. Happy Trails hiking at 13 miles. John Moore 33. Chris Zagoni 24. Lori Bryant 8.3. Outdoor Nomad 13.2. Shink Golfer 7. For a total of 102 miles this week for everybody. So thanks for logging those miles.
Yeah, cool.
In the total now for the year is almost 6,000 miles, and we are at 91% of where we would hope to be.
I bet we make it to 6,000 by next week. I bet we do it. I'll be very excited to see. And the other thing that I wanted to note is that Chris Oconee is coming up on the Hike 365. It's coming. He's our next one. And Alexandra got over 100. So that was really neat. Okay. Kenny, the Idahonian, says, what's my total?
It's 243 for the year.
243.65.
Almost 90%.
There you go. Awesome. Everybody's doing fantastic. Great job, as Lori says. Good job. Everyone. And within hiking distance says, Happy Trails hiking. Hiking sticks are not necessary if you hike on easy and moderate trails and have no knee issues. I would agree.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting subject.
Yeah?
So several years ago, when Kay and I were in Yosemite, we hiked up to the top of Yosemite Falls, and it is a very steep trail. It's only 3 miles, but it is seriously steep. There's a lot of elevation gain in that short 3 miles.
Yes.
And I started having problems with my knees. And by the time we got back down the hill, I mean, I could just barely walk. It was serious enough that we had to change our hiking plans for the rest of the week. Like, I had a hard time going up half a flight of stairs to get into the Lodge Hotel
into the hotel room.
Dining room.
Oh, gotcha.
Or the hotel room for that matter. It was just not a good thing. And so I've since learned that I need to stretch better and more, which I'm somewhat better at. But along the way, um, I decided that I needed to do something to get a load off of my knees as well. So I bought a set of poles from REI. Now, I don't know whether it actually helps or not, or the fact that I'm at least conscious of the stretching may also help. But
Or
I
where you're
find that,
putting your feet.
yeah, I mean, but I find that on the flat and on gentle hills, we really don't need poles at all. I mean, I never hiked with poles before.
Right.
But where I find they are useful is on very kind of questionable terrain.
Yep.
And it can sometimes be helpful on steep terrain.
I don't carry poles at all, but I have little short stubby legs and a low center of gravity. And I like to carry my camera. So, and within hiking distances, up Yosemite Falls is the hardest trail we've ever done and not completed. Hiking poles are a must there. See, and I didn't hike with hiking poles there, but like I said, I have really short legs. And I was really sore at the end of that one too. I was sitting, I will never forget. We finished it, and I was sitting waiting for the shuttle to take us back to the parking lot to our car. And a ranger came by and went, "Where are you from?" And I went, "Missouri." He went, "First hike in the park?" And I went, "Yeah, second try." And my face is turning red now. It was I was just like, yeah, it beat my legs up, but I made it to the top. And he went, "Good job. Good job."
Well,
and so
we knew that was hard and that
we
is the funny
tried
thing.
it.
You
Yeah.
said second try,
Well,
but
Lori.
our first try was 2009.
Mhm.
And Lori was with us on that one, and we got a third of the way up to whatever the Scout Lookout, I guess it's called. And the three of us looked at each other and were
Not
like,
Scout Lookout.
"No,
but that's
what's it
okay.
called? Bob's Lookout?
Yes.
No.
But it's not Scout Lookout because that's in Zion.
Oh, all right. Anyway, you got about a third of the way up, and the three of us looked at each other and said, no, not happening.
We're not
turning
doing this.
around.
We're not doing this. So that's all right.
And we came back 3 years later, and as part of our training, Kay and I actually ran a half marathon a little before that event. So we were in good shape.
We were in pretty good shape. Yeah. And Outdoor Nomad is here. And Outdoor Nomad, we are talking about gear that you would not recommend someone buy or that you've bought, but you wouldn't buy again. Within hiking distance says it's a beast. Yeah, that hike is a beast. Welcome to the club. And Idahonian says, I tried trekking poles, I hated them, but there are some sections of the Bora where I coveted the hikers with poles. And Hike with Mike says, I only use poles for possible self-defense events.
You should make ninja sounds if you're going to be spinning hiking poles.
That's it. Ninja sounds. They're pretty quiet.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's probably pretty easy to make those sounds.
Oh, the history buff is here. Hello. Do buy a Ford. Okay.
Great.
Oh, do not, he says. Do not buy a Ford. That's some hiking gear he's used that he will not buy again.
You know, I've never owned a Ford.
Out of all the cars that we've had,
yeah.
We could name them all, but we're not going to. But it's been highly too many for the amount of time.
I don't know about all that.
We have been married for a long time.
We've had a lot of cars.
Yes. Yeah, we have had a lot of cars. Vehicles in general. So welcome, History Buff. It's good to see you. Chris Aconi is here. What is some piece of hiking gear that you have bought that you will never purchase again and would not recommend for anyone else? That's our question for the week, Chris.
So the two leading answers so far are we don't recommend cheap rain gear and we don't recommend Fords.
And hiking poles when you're not going up.
Hiking poles for easy hiking.
For easy hiking, or unless you don't.
So it's 3.
And Chris Aconi says a Catadine water filter.
Okay. Did it break or what's the why part there?
Oh, I forgot. And why? All right. So we did all that. And okay. Let's see. spreadsheet map. What?
All right. Chris Sagoni says that the Catadine water filter plugs too fast.
Plugs up too fast. Awesome.
Yes, you need your water filter to work and to flow a lot of water without getting clogged out.
Art of Morbid says, somehow I made it. How's everyone? We're doing great, Frank. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. If you have hiking gear that you would not recommend, we would love to hear about it. Now, I made a map of the hikes that were reported this week, and I would like to show that to you. So let me get to that. And there it is. So I do want to zoom in because this looks like, one dot here, 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 one dot here. But that's not the truth. There's a lot of dots in this Oklahoma City area because Outdoor Nomad has been very busy.
Lots of dots.
Lots of dots. There's 3 dots over here in the East Tennessee area.
That was us.
Yes. And then all of these dots over here are John Moore. And he has been hiking up a storm lately and in some beautiful areas. I mean, look at this. This Back Bay National Wildlife Refuge, I want to hike there. It's right on the ocean and there's a little sunlight and you just see both sides. And please.
All right, we'll get out there.
Okay. And Virginia Beach. Who wouldn't want to hike on Virginia Beach? Oh my goodness. All right. So that's fun. I just wanted to zoom in for a few minutes so that we could show you that.
Yeah. Oh, and I should have mentioned that Lori was with us on Tennessee too for those hikes.
Yes, Lori was with us. And those are actually Lori's dots, not my dots.
Lori's dots. Okay.
Yeah. And Alexandra's been hiking up here in Idaho. This is from, remember last week when we were talking about Shank Golfer and which state his dot was supposed to be in? He corrected me and said it was supposed to be in South Dakota. So he is still hiking, or was last week, in South Dakota and did Black Elk Peak. So that's really cool. Awesome. And we're good to go. Chris Coney's got some hikes over here in this area. And I'm trying to think. And we didn't get anything from Cliff Reiser this week, did we?
That's okay. I mean, he's already got enough mileage for 10 people. So.
He's almost at 1,500 miles. That's just insane. So anyway, okay. So that's our map. I did not draw a line. I'm drawing a line next week when we hit 1,600. That's my goal, is to draw a line 1,600.
6,000?
6,000 miles. Sorry.
Okay.
I was thinking of Cliff's number. Never mind. All right. And
I got a couple more comments.
Says it's
here.
great to see us. History buff suggests cross trainers as opposed to boots for keeping it light. Interesting.
Boots are heavy. Yeah, they are. They can be heavy.
Boots
I've never
are heavy.
used cross trainers or trail runners on
Right.
the trail.
Oh yeah, he said boots are too heavy.
I think that's it.
Is that it? All right, I'm sorry. You said a few, so I was trying to figure
Okay.
it out.
Yeah, sorry. Just a couple.
That's all right.
One.
2.
All right. I didn't mean to start it.
I love the count. All right, so the beef free and then gravity system is not bad. It's a bit heavy, but they're talking about putting in water filters. So
Right.
there's a water filter discussion going on in the chat. So if you're watching the chat replay, go for that. Barefoot is nice and light too. Yes. But rocks and my feet are bad. Are not friends. So we have a few pictures from this week. Lori took some and we took some. Unfortunately, they're from all the same places, but well,
Oh, that's good.
okay. That's good. I mean, it's from all the same places. You get to see different views of same stuffs. So here are Lori's photos. We went over to East Tennessee, and this is the mill at Norris Dam State Park. And so it was raining when we got there.
Yeah, a nice composition, Lori. I
Yeah,
like
very
that
pretty.
one.
Lori's very good at taking pictures. I took this one with the mill behind her because I wanted Lori to be in a picture. This is the threshing barn, and you can tell it's raining.
We didn't find any threshers.
We found no threshers, but we did find a wagon.
All right.
And stuff. This is the flooded water. Okay, at the Weir Dam.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you going to talk about Weir Dams?
Oh, I guess we could briefly. So we were at Norris Dam State Park in Tennessee, and just below the dam, there is this Weir Dam, which we never had done too much study on these, but you know how it is at a something like this. There's a sign. So reading the sign, and apparently it's just kind of it's just there to control the water level below the dam to help fish. And there was also some oxygenation happening. So it was interesting when we were there on this day, at this time of this day, you can see that I'm standing on a sidewalk. Okay, and I'm standing on a sidewalk, and there's water over it. But we came back the next day, and the water was down several feet. I mean, it was very significant. So the water level in this section changes based on the power generation. And I guess something about generating the power routes it differently, so maybe it doesn't come through this area. That was unclear. But at any rate, the water level changes dramatically.
A lot, because we drove past the next morning and we were like, holy cow, where did it all go? So anyway, thanks, Lori, for sending this one in. There we go. I might have missed one. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's it.
I'm sorry. And this is the next state park we went to. I'm not going to remember the name of it because I haven't done the video on it yet. But it was the
Lori will tell us in a second.
Lori, type that in the chat. Please and thank you. And Hike with Mike says, weird, LOL. And I went, weird. Big Ridge State Park. Thank you, Lori. So Big Ridge State Park. And you can see the trees are changing colors just a little bit. Just a bit.
That was a good reflection picture there.
Yeah. And so I should have gone on to the next one. This is the Big Ridge at Big Ridge State Park. Then there's Pinnacle Ridge. And we hiked. This will be fun. So we hiked this little trail, the green one here, and then went across the bridge and went this way and down near Snotterly Cemetery, and then up Snotterly Armpit, remember? Anyway, up the Ghost House Trail. So we went this way, and then I thought we were going to come back this way, but we did not. We went off this way and came down here on the Big Valley Trail, and then we walked to the old mill, a little past it, then came back and we road walked until we got back to the truck.
Yeah, that was a nice little hike.
Yeah, it was a good little Snotty Armpit Cemetery. Yes. So Lori saw the Snotterly Cemetery, or no, Matt saw Snotterly Cemetery, and there was another word there with it. But anyway, and we came up with Snotty Armpit Cemetery.
It's funny how you see something and you misread it, and then it turns into something hilarious.
It's now a joke. So there you are. So good pictures, and as Frank is saying, good pictures, Lori.
No offense to any Snotterlies who may be viewing this video.
No, please. Snotterly Armpit Cemetery, yes. See, really good reflections on this arm of the lake. This is all Norris Lake, so it's all the same lake, the whole town. And this is Ghost House, and it has ghost stories that go along with that. So, yeah. But there was no house actually there.
Yeah, we didn't really get why there were ghost stories, or there were just claims that there's ghost stories, and
they didn't tell us the ghost stories.
We didn't get any stories.
Yeah.
So.
Have a good evening, Shank Golfer. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you too. And alarm is set for 3 a.m. He says. So
that sounds lovely. But at this place where they had a bunch of logs sawn, so you could sit on them, just cross sections of logs for seating.
At the
so
cemetery.
They, it's clear that at some point in time they had hosted events there.
Yep.
But there was none of that going on when we were there.
And then this is Cove Lake State Park. There's the third state park, and this is Cove Lake, but it's also right in the area of Norris Lake. we just stopped there for a minute. There aren't really any hiking trails there, but I wanted to see the viewing platform because they have birding there. And we saw this very large, I thought it was an egret, but its bill was highly too long to be an egret that we have around here. But Lori got it, and it was, I got it actually catching a fish, which is what it has in its mouth there.
This park was one of those that had just tons of picnic areas, and it was just,
I don't know where that trail is.
it was very,
It's very pretty.
Oh, that's the one behind the cabin.
Behind the cabin.
Yeah, but what was the last one? The last park?
Cove Lake.
Cove Lake, yeah. Cove Lake was,
Mhm.
it was set up as a picnic destination and as a lake activity destination. There's not a lot of hiking there.
Okay. There's lots of discussion here. Lori says, it's a ghost house. It only shows up sometimes. That was another thing that just got said. And in jest. But yeah, a ghost house. So I'm going to try to find out the paranormal claims for it just because it would be interesting to someone in our community and some of our friends, like Art of Morbid, who does ghost stuff and paranormal things. And Chris Aconi says, ghosts of what? And Lori says it doesn't say. It didn't say anything.
I wonder if they're ghost of ghost. Maybe that's why I didn't say it. They couldn't figure it out.
Maybe. Only the witness can see the house. There you go. Oh, there you go. Anyway. All right, cool. Let's see. I've done all of that. I have a few pictures to show too. Because, well, that's what we do. And then we'll be out of here. So thank you all for coming in advance. And here is Lori and I on top of Norris Dam, and Matt's up there. He was hiking way faster than we were. So that was a thing. And then this is looking out at Matt from the mill at Big Ridge State Park. Bless you. And it was a mill, and I could go in, and there was nobody else in there, and there's nothing in there other than the equipment for the water wheel. So I went in, and then I appeared in the window. You're sneezy tonight. And so anyway, that's just taking a picture of Matt out of the window. And then this is Norris Dam from the bottom of the dam. And this is my snail buddy. Actually, it's Matt's snail buddy. We found him on the back railing of the little cabin we were staying at. And he really isn't any bigger than my fingernail. So he's really little. And then this is Lori and I out on the patio of our little cabin. It rained the whole weekend.
Well, we had a nice, it was basically sunny on Saturday.
Yes. Yep, sure was. Let's see. Minivan Mike is here. Says hello. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. And Love to Wander is here. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. Chris Aconi gets yelled at for hiking ahead. We didn't yell at you that day.
Okay.
We just assumed you'd be back at the truck sooner or later. Minivan Mike says we just hiked the Narrows in Zion. Oh, fantastic. That's wonderful. I hear September's a good time to hike the Narrows in Zion. We've never hiked the Narrows in Zion because we've never been there other than in the spring or summer.
Well, we just never decided to do it.
Okay. Well, we haven't done it yet. But that's really cool. Cute snail. And hi, late we are. Yoda. Anyway, don't worry about being late. We appreciate you being here. And yeah, we will be back next week. It'll be the first week of October. I can't hardly believe it.
Well, here's moving on.
It's going. All right. So everybody get some miles in. We're not too far from 6,000. We'll do it. We'll do it this week. I know we will. And yeah, it'll be a good time.
Okay.
All right, everybody have a great week. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.